So here is passage 2, which focuses on the flavor of the last few years, anthropology, and it introduces us to this man called Boaz and some more details. So he was basically anti-racist, but then until then people thought that the differences among various entities, various individuals was explained by their race. So how are they different? Boaz said that the difference was culture. So the next paragraph talks about the usual meaning of culture, but then the third one talks about the way culture was defined by Boaz and the core of his argument that these learned behavior, patterns of thinking, etc., they become a lens through which one experiences and affects the world, and all your behavior is rationalized thereafter. Now, again, more on culture, although this is an important point. He never jettisoned biology entirely. He simply made culture far more influential, right? And then thereafter we are talking about the political implications of this particular thought. And if you understand culture the way Boaz defined it, then culture became the new object of study. And look at his lectures and people moving out to go and study the cultures of different societies by and large. Look at this word, ethnography. Ethnography is where you study a culture other than your own, usually by living in that culture. So let's go ahead and look at the questions. All of the following arguments are made in the passage except, so let's see. Boaz did not believe that the Caucasian race was superior to other races. So all of the following arguments are made except, so we are looking for an argument that is not made. So Boaz definitely talked about the fact that all the races are equal. As an implication, we can say that Caucasians are not superior to other races. So this is an argument that can be found through implication. So let's eliminate A. Boaz's ideas led to anthropology becoming more of a field science. Last paragraph. People rushing out to study different cultures, ethnography, so definitely yes. So therefore, we are looking for except. So anything which is mentioned is not going to be our answer. Let's look at C. Boaz did admit that there could be some intrinsic differences between races. He did not jettison biology entirely, but he did not talk about intrinsic difference. The fact that the passage at least does not say that he talked about intrinsic differences. In fact, for Boaz and his followers, and I quote the passage, it was imperative to investigate humans' infinite constellation of cultures, etc. So, in the last paragraph, but then prior to that, notice that paragraph which talked about progressives who embraced cultural determinism. This meant that poverty, crime, and racial inequality were outcomes of economic disadvantage and not innate differences. So they're not innate differences. Biology does not automatically imply to an entire set of people altogether. And therefore, this is something that contradicts the passage. Should be our answer. Let's look at D. Charles King was generally supportive of Boaz's ideas on culture. Absolutely. There is a part in the passage that says, a story recently told to acclaim by Charles King in his book Gods of the Upper Air. So this is also mentioned. So A, B and D are mentioned, C is not, therefore C becomes our answer, and with that we can move over to question number 6. Which one of the following, if true, would best complement the passage? So complement is supports, strengthens. Let's check. It would not be possible for anthropologists to be able to study cultures outside. This is going to weaken. If you can't study other cultures, then the last paragraph stands negated. Certain cultures seem predisposed to be able to create better societies. Oh, it's culture that determines different things, not race. So if this is true, then this does provide a fact that strengthens the point made in the main idea of the passage. Biology plays no role. No. He did not jettison it entirely. Remember, this contradicts that part. Racial determinism is a reality that Boaz agreed with. No, Boaz agreed with the cultural determination, not racial determination. This is once again contradictory. So this will also weaken. So A, C and D weaken, B strengthens. That is why our answer for question number 6 should be B. Here is the next one. Once again, we are looking for something that can support Boas' opinion. Oh, sorry, would not be. How did I miss out on that? Huh? Which one of the following statements would not be supportive of Boas' opinion? So anything which is inconsistent with Boas' opinions. So Boas was not supportive of ethnicity at all. He did not give up ethnicity in its entirety. And therefore this at all is not right. B. Boas was of the opinion that different races were largely equal. That's true. Therefore, this is definitely not an answer. He defined culture as customs, learned behavior and thought patterns. Absolutely. Third paragraph, and thus can be ruled out. He altered the meaning of culture. Yes. Remember fourth, there is a popular meaning that of the culture that was given in second paragraph, and then the meaning that Boas gave in third, and that meaning eventually caught up by the time it was fourth. So B, C and D are very clearly true. The only problem with A is at all, and therefore that becomes our best answer choice for question number 7. Here is question 8. The author of this passage is least likely to support the view that so prior to Boas, anthropological studies were generally based on racial differences. True. He was the one who brought in that cultural dimension, so this is true, and because it is true, the author will support it. B. Boas altered the field of anthropology from being a theoretical field of study to a more experimental field-based one. Last paragraph, ethnography, this is also true, so the author is going to support it. C. This is the main point of the passage, so this is obviously something that the author is going to support. And when you say D, Boas' opinions did not have initially much of an impact on the field of anthropology, this is wrong. I mean, so many people who attended his seminar and then went out trying to discover nuances of different cultures, all that fervor that was shown in the last paragraph, this contradicts it. So D is inconsistent with the passage, and therefore the author is least likely to support D, and thus our answer to question number 8 should be option D. And that takes care of our passage number 2.